Okay, so I've been writing now for about the last, I'd say, between 3 to 4 weeks, and I'm knackered. It's taken a bit longer than I thought it would, but I'm really pleased that I did quite a lot of research. So the way I laid it out to start writing was I got all my research together and I put it in order of how I thought it was going to occur in the dissertation, and basically went from there. Started to join everything up piece by piece, slowly putting the jigsaw puzzle together in a sense. And now I'm on my final bit of writing. I've written chapters 1, 2, and 3, and finished them off. I'm now currently working on the 4th chapter. I'm almost finished, but it doesn't quite link in with the rest of my project. So I had tutorial with Jeremy and the rest of the group, which I've really been enjoying. I haven't been posting because I've been so busy, but I've been getting on with things. And sorry, I'm just clicking around. The final chapter doesn't really link up with the rest. I think because I didn't have as much information in the last chapter. But as you can see in my bibliography, that I have been gaining more research still for that chapter. So I'm still always thinking about it, always going back to it, that sort of thing. I'm just finding the process a bit long now. I've got a week to go. I still need to write my conclusion and double check over everything. I've gone through and got my second reader to check all my grammar and make sure it makes sense. So they're quite pleased with that as well. I've also, what were my original headings for each chapter? They've actually changed slightly. So, the advice Jeremy gave me was to make things a little bit more interesting, I think, in a sense. Well, that's how I took it. So the headings which I originally had were now turned into subheadings in each chapter. And then the heading for the main chapter is slightly more interesting, grabs your attention a little bit more. Then within that, there's subheadings explaining why I've written about each one. Something else that I do need to do is just to link it all a little bit more so the reader knows exactly what I'm talking about, is for the beginning of each chapter, write an introduction, which I haven't done so far, which I think is going to boost my grade, which hopefully I can give what I'm writing a fair introduction, because that's something that I am worried about, that the introduction is not going to be as strong as the information in the text, so I'm going to have to reword it a couple of times, I think. But yeah, so far so good. Hi, so I went back again to the National Portrait Gallery because in my last tutorial, Jeremy actually recommended that was probably quite an interesting subject to just touch upon in more detail. So I thought, why not? So I went back there to see if I could get any more information, because before, when I contacted them, I contacted via email and via the telephone, so I wanted to see whether in person I got more of a result or more of an answer, but it seems not. So, it didn't feel pointless, because I've got a result out of it and it's basically backing up what I said already, which is good because it's just more in depth and gives me more of an analysis. So again, they didn't want to speak to me. I asked them questions, etc. And I asked if I could have a one-on-one with the manager as well, and to discuss about that. and basically he said no. But I'm glad I went, because it does really make you think, what is their agenda? What is their propaganda? So yes, thank you, Jeremy. And I'll post back later. So I've finished writing everything now. Well, everything apart from my conclusion. And I'd like to say I'm happy, but I've just been so stressed trying to get everything done. And I think the conclusion is worrying me a little bit. I don't really know why, because I've got so much information, but I think it's just the hype of up to it. And that's like I think that's most the important bit of the whole dissertation. So I'm a bit anxious about writing it, but I guess I've only got a couple of days left now, so I need to get on with it desperately. I say it's an issue. It's not really an issue. I've gone over my word count already, and I haven't written the conclusion. But I've been back over my text over and over again, trying to get it down to size. I mean, I know it's just a guideline, but I don't want my assessors to think that I'm just gambling on about nothing, because every single reason that's in there is a legitimate reason, and it needs to be there to make the rest of the dissertation make sense, and every point is really useful. So I've gone over, but I hope that's not going to affect anything, because, as I said, it's not just jibber jabber. But I am nervous about writing this, and I've got to do it now. So I've got time on my hands, so I will post back shortly about how it's gone. Okay. So it's close to the end of the day of writing my conclusion, and I've just given it to my second reader to read over, and I'm a little bit frustrated because what I thought made sense did not make sense to them. So I'm very frustrated, but it is good that I've double checked it with them. Basically, sorry. I think what my best bet to do now is get away from it for a little bit, move on to something else, and start and finish off writing it in the morning. And my handing is getting closer and closer, and it feels bad to leave it and not get on with it straight away, but I think it's what's best. I think I've been caught up in it a bit too much, so stepping back and having a night's sleep might make me feel differently about it, and it might make me see sense. So I will be doing that in the morning, and I'll let you know how that goes. Okay, so it's the morning after that my dad did my improvements to my conclusion. Well, went through it and basically said, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense. So yesterday I was a bit frustrated, but I'm really glad that I slept on it, because I had a few other thoughts as well last night. And when there was one of the sections that I was writing about in one of the chapters was about having what is the value of art as a 9-to-5 career. My word count is up anyway, and what has that got to do with who's to judge the financial and emotional value of art? I mean, I know they're artists earning career, but I don't think it is actually relevant. And when my dad was looking over it in my conclusion, he said, "What has this got to do with anything?" And I found myself hard to explain. So I'm actually happy that I've taken it out. I did that this morning, took it out, did all my corrections, The last bit that I'm stuck on my conclusion is my personal opinion. I think I need to word it a bit better and make everything a little bit more clear. But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I haven't got long now until my deadline. So I need to get that done soon. But on a good note, I'd gone over my Part 2 guidelines, which was a great help, and I've corrected all my referencing and especially what I have to do for my illustrations. I always thought it was see figure, but according to this it's not, it's see illustration, so I'm glad I did that. And I think what else will be good to talk about now is the image that I've chosen. I've chosen Steamer in a Storm by Turner. I think that's the name. But I really feel like you can see emotion in this picture, and you feel like you want to judge this image, and you want to have your own opinion on it. And I think everyone's opinion on it is going to be completely different. So in this sense, it really relates to my whole project, and I'm actually going to have that at the beginning. And I hope my assessor can see why. I mean, it links to like art critics, because I'm saying about how this is your own personal opinion, and if an art critic had said something about this piece, I don't think that I would listen to them, because it's so emotional that I think it's very personal. And I think almost in the brushstrokes, because it is an impressionism style, you can actually see the emotion that the artist was feeling as well at the same time. And I just think it's a great piece. So that's going to be the first thing you see. Another reason that I'm going to have this image in the front is so it's going to get the reader automatically thinking, and they're automatically going to judge themselves what this image is about. And therefore then carrying on reading the rest of my dissertation, which is asking who is allowed to judge this, they're already going to have a personal opinion, but then they can accept all the other views that are coming in, and I think they'll find it really interesting. I mean, I find it interesting, so I really do hope they do too, and I hope they enjoy it. Here you can see the graph of emotion. It's pretty flat to start with, then going downhill, up, back down again, and slowly getting up again. My emotions have been all over the place, and I think it's quite clearly shown here how I'm feeling, and also throughout my progress map. I've done it. I've finished. Words cannot describe how this feels. So I finally finished now. I've done everything. I have done all my layouts as well. So all I need to do now is save this and put it in with my dissertation and save it as a PDF file and send it off. I've really enjoyed doing it, even though it has been stressful. And I think you can definitely see throughout this that I've really grown as a person. I mean, my confidence. I mean, I had confidence before, but it has grown, and I think it's very visual. So that's all for now. Thank you for your time.